One thing I do want to say, by the way, guys, is the Nick Fuentes tweet that went viral should be viewed in terms of a government-controlled project, because Nick Fuentes endorsed Kamala Harris. He said that he would not vote for Trump, and then as soon as Trump won, he started celebrating. I do think that he is a government asset, and that tweet was deliberately timed to be fuel for the next Democrat campaign, in 4 years or in 8 years, whenever they have a chance of winning, to be like, oh, look, this is the Republican position, when it is not the Republican position at all. At most, it's just funny trolling. Guys, deportations, though, are just gonna be the beginning. We're going to prosecute Fauci. We're going to hold the degenerate female psyches accountable en masse. They're already in shambles. The problem, though, with the degenerate female psyche is that as it's disconnected with reality and has no way to interface with reality, given its separation with masculinity being the apparatus for which women make sense of the world, there's no way for these women in this chaotic aftermath to understand what happened to them. Instead, they're just like, oh my gosh, yeah, it must be more victimhood, oh my gosh. They're losing their minds. This is a problem for them. This is a problem for society, because the same degenerate ideology that forced them to make no sense and say the opposite of the truth repeatedly for years before is, in many cases, isn't being fixed. And if we're not, and this is a very serious problem, because the degenerate female psyche that can't tell the difference between competent, just, generous masculinity and tyrannical, corrupt masculinity, if they can't tell the difference between those things, they will view everything that we do as oppression, even when it is objectively good for them and society in every single category. So really, you can look at this as a humanitarian issue. Women's brains en masse aren't functioning, and this is causing them to suffer. One example of this would be here, but we see this everywhere, guys. We see this everywhere. I've seen it. It's quite unfortunate for them.
To stand up for justice!
To stand up for justice!
So justice in their mind is making the world in the image of their degenerate, resentful, left-wing, psychopathic, feminine ideology. Not the public electing an official by a margin of millions, sending a clear message that would actually reject this narcissism, actually, is what it is.
Stand up for America!
Oh, I just realized who's behind this this guy. Okay, so wait, is this the cast of the Avengers? Oh, this is funny. This is really funny.
America!
To stand up for America!
Trump is not a legitimate president!
Trump is not.
And you can see her smiling after she says this, election denial, thinking that she's a good person. This is narcissism. This is the narcissism of the degenerate female psyche. I will say the opposite of reality and then believe I'm a good person afterwards. I will take satisfaction in the fact that I am a better person than you and saying something that is against reality. Because again, these women are all single, so they're disconnected with masculinity, so they have no way to make sense of the world. This is my hypothesis. It's a very strong hypothesis. I've thought for hundreds of hours about it, the architecture of why degenerate women say the opposite of the truth and are almost at war with all facets of reality, and then take, gleeful pride in saying the opposite of the truth. This, I think, is new. I do not think women lived like this hundreds of years ago. I don't think they lived like this thousands of years ago. I think what we're seeing here is literally only observed in the last 50 years, when women have been told, in order to liberate yourself, you must deny reality. It's very bizarre, but this is a problem. Again, humanitarian issue.
Not a legitimate president!
Trump is not America!
Trump is not America!
Now, if this was before Trump was elected, that makes it even funnier, because then Trump won by a margin of what's looking to be in excess of 7 million votes, which is so funny. That's quite literally historic margins. But if this is after, it is also equally bad, though, because that would make it even more narcissistic. The idea that, okay, we have the feedback, we have the result, which is complete defeat across the board, from the Senate to the presidency to, the massive margin with the electorate, and then they still think, oh, we're better than you. But before this, it's still the same thing. And then after, they get corrected, rather than evaluating their positions, which were proven to be wrong by the American people, they say to themselves, I must be victimized by all these people giving me feedback, which of course is in alignment with the degenerate female psyche, saying that any accountability is oppression. Have you ever known a scorned woman to take accountability for anything, to say sorry? No, of course, it's everyone. Of course not. It's everyone else's fault. It's not her fault. So, in the same way, the left is not able to take accountability. But of course, we're just getting started. We haven't even seen 0.1% of what's about to come. And so it's going to get more difficult for them to deny accountability, because accountability is coming in every place that they're going to look in society. So it's going to get glorious. This is going to be fantastic.
We love America!
We love
So they know that they have to say the opposite of the truth in their warfare and service to resentment.
America! What's it? We love you!
To stand
By the way, I don't know who this actress is. Is this Rey, or is this the Star Wars girl? I'm not sure exactly who this is. But this is not all women. So this video, I want to make clear that a lot of women know what's going on, and what I'm describing is only degenerate femininity. That is a term that I think I've coined to describe varying levels of female psychopathology, the broken prism of the female mind, which is preyed upon by left-wing resentments, disproportionately so, of course. We know that proclivity to abide in left-wing authoritarianism is positively correlated with a feminine personality distribution. But this is by no means all women, because we have a historic number of women voting for Trump. These are patriot women, of course, that are, on average, married to a guy with children.
Get ready with us while we tell you why we're so mad that Kamala didn't get elected president. I just really was excited to tell you why.
These girls are mocking leftist Gen Z, which is fantastic.
Get ready with us while we tell you why we're so mad that Kamala didn't get elected president. I just really was excited to see my future daughter get destroyed by men in sports. Would have been a proud mom moment.
I've
Based.
never ever in my entire life wanted to be a homeowner or marry someone who wanted to be a homeowner.
Based.
And so it just sucks now that houses will probably be a little bit more affordable. I just wanted to live in an apartment the rest of my life.
Based.
I wanted my future son to be able.
Notice how the left actually commands women to take positions which are opposite to everything that they want. Most women want to have a house to make into their safe nesting place or whatever for their children. And of course, because women prioritize safety very highly, men competing against them in sports being very unsafe, every position the left commands that they take is the opposite of what they want. But perversely, they're told that if they don't take those positions, they're bad, they're oppressors, they're pick-me's. Oh my gosh. By the way, what does pick-me mean? It means that men find it attractive? What does that even mean? It's so ridiculous. If you're a woman, maybe and you're watching this, comment in the comments, what does pick-me even mean? And how is that even allegedly a bad thing? Seriously, logically, it doesn't make sense. Maybe I'm spending too much time on this, but doesn't that just mean men like that? Oh my gosh, men like it? It must be bad, because masculinity is bad.
Use a tampon in a men's restroom without being judged, or just in general.
It just sucks to me that the border is going to have more restrictions now. I wanted drugs to be more readily available for people who really needed them in their life. I thought it was
based girl.
something that's good for our economy, good for the homeless population.
Based.
I was really excited to lose all these boys to World War III. Finally get out of our hair.
I really wanted my third grader to learn about sexual reassignment surgery and stuff like that. I just don't understand why people wouldn't want their kids to learn about that. It breaks my heart that people want to keep that secret from their kids. Teach them young.
Right. And it's perverse because you're seeing there displayed the actual positions of leftist women in this mockery, in this irony. Because if you were to spell it out coherently, meaning without the anti-reality emotional lens of most degenerate women, you get exactly what they're doing here. Leftist women literally want to sacrifice everything good, including their children and babies, on the altar of their anti-truth ideology. This is how broken and destitute these women are.
I was excited to keep paying $4 for gas. If you can't afford it, you don't deserve it.
I was really hoping that if Kamala became president, she would take back the abortion rights and put it in the hands of the government rather than the states. I just want my daughter to be able to have that option in case she does get pregnant in high school. I'm sure she'll be sleeping around. So.
There's college. She has to go to college next.
College, yeah.
Right, exactly. It's crazy how I saw a tweet from, one of the deranged accounts on X where, I'll just show it to you. Actually, never mind, I won't, because it's not worth it. The deranged leftist account, Joe, I don't know if you guys know of it. It's a woman. Was saying, why do conservative dads want abortions to be hard to get? Don't they want to take care of their daughters? And this conservative dad replied, and completely ratioed her, got like twice as many likes underneath her post saying, because I raised my daughter not to spread her legs. And then Joe, the leftist account, was so destroyed by this reply, she just completely melted down like underneath the post, being like, "Oh my gosh, how could you say this about your daughter? Oh my gosh, it's so weird." And then you realize leftists don't actually want to imbue good values onto their children. And then I think to myself, wow, I'm very lucky to have escaped the gulag. God obviously had a plan. Leftists don't want to, like a leftist parent hypothetically doesn't want to tell their daughter not to be a slut. It just doesn't make any sense.
I just want her to be able to have an abortion if she really needs it.
Yeah, like she wouldn't have to lift a finger if it was Kamala.
Exactly.
I was really looking forward to
Not have to lift a finger to kill their baby, right?
the motivational opportunity that I would get by going on campus to the women's restroom and seeing some male genitals.
By the way, I just want to say I've never watched women put on makeup for this long. Does it actually take this long?
I would have been so motivated to study.
I know, I would have gotten so excited.
Yeah.
I really just wanted my child to be able to have a transition and make that decision for himself whenever he's young. I don't think that he needs to be 18 to decide what he can and can't do with
Right. Yeah, transition at 8 years old or you're a bigot.
his body. He's literally knows exactly what he wants.
Given that these are all positions that the psychopathic degenerate female psyche has when it is possessed by Marxist ideology, you can tell that they would be increasingly rewarded based on the value of the sacrifice being put forward. So if the value of the sacrifice is your 8-year-old son, let's say, you would be given even more virtue. This is the reason why leftist women, most of the time single, will go out of their way to try to make all of their kids trans or all of their kids some other identity that is protected under the leftist ideology, because then they're given even more virtue. It is the antithesis to earning virtue in a competence-based hierarchy or in meritocracy, which of course is the reason why they detest embodiments of true competence and meritocracy like Elon Musk or other forms of objective masculine impressiveness.
Wants to do. If he wants to be a female, then he can do that. And
Trump, quit taking away our rights.
it breaks my heart that people think that they shouldn't be able to do that.
No. I wouldn't rush to Obama's because I'm single and I really wanted to meet a Russian boy, a cute little Russian boy, or Putin.
Yeah.
So obviously not all girls are, on the left, thank goodness, but millions and millions are destroyed. And to the conservative women, I would say this, because you're truly feminine women, you have actual compassion, you're not faking it, unlike leftist women. We need your help to save these millions of destroyed women, to help break their psychopathology. Because it's one thing for me to sit here and logically explain why this woman is a psychopath, but it's something else for you to be like, confront them yourself and say, so why do you not care about your babies? Because it hits different when it's from a woman. And we saw that too in that clip of the woman screaming in the toddler's face for her dad wearing a MAGA hat or something. And then another woman stepped in and said, oh my gosh. And you could see on the expression of her face, the woman who stepped in, it was written all there. You could see, how could you do this? What type of horrible person are you? And in that moment, I witnessed the dichotomy of true femininity versus some sort of demonic psychopathic witch that has been corrupted by a political ideology, and maybe something deeper than a political ideology. So we need women to step in. Again, for humanitarian reasons. We got to save these people. I appreciate all of you guys. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching and you aren't new here, subscribe to the channel. Keep wearing your MAGA gear out in public, and I'll see you guys in the next video.